Part 1. Through the eye of the shift, entering the field where thought becomes form. It begins the way most awakenings do, not with light, but with loss. Everything you thought was real begins to dissolve. The plans fall apart. The people disappear. The path you thought you were on suddenly vanishes beneath your feet. You are left in a kind of spiritual free fall, suspended between what you once believed and what you haven't yet discovered. It's here, in this space between worlds, that the true nature of quantum manifestation begins to whisper. Not in words, not in signs, but in vibration. You may have heard that your thoughts create your reality, but that's only part of the story. The deeper truth is this: it's not your thoughts alone, it's the frequency behind them. We don't manifest what we want. We manifest what we are. And what we are is a constantly broadcasting field of information, emotion, memory, and potential. That field is interacting with everything around it all the time, quietly sculpting the events, people, and timelines that show up in our lives. But here's where most people misunderstand this. They try to manifest from the mind while their body is still anchored in fear, doubt, and trauma. They affirm abundance while vibrating in scarcity. They visualize love while carrying the unresolved grief of abandonment. And then they wonder why it doesn't work. Quantum manifestation is not about manipulating the universe. It's about matching it. It's about becoming internally coherent, so coherent that the external world has no choice but to mirror your internal state.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
This isn't just metaphysical fluff. This is physics. Your heart emits an electromagnetic field thousands of times more powerful than your brain. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for vibrational coherence. Your cells hold memory. Your energy holds intention. And when all of that aligns, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are broadcasting the same signal, then reality begins to bend. Not because you forced it, but because you matched it. There was a moment, maybe you've had it too, where everything aligned for no reason. You felt light, clear, aware, and suddenly everything flowed. The right person called. The opportunity appeared. You felt seen by the universe. That wasn't luck. That was alignment. That was quantum manifestation in real time. And the more you understand that moment, the more you can recreate it, not by effort, but by frequency design. But to master this, we must go deeper than vision boards or morning affirmations. We must learn to become the field. This means healing the trauma that fragments our energy. It means releasing the identities that keep us small. It means choosing resonance over routine. And above all, it means learning to live from the inside out. Most people live from reaction. The chosen live from signal. And that signal is everything. Let me ask you something that only your soul can answer. What if your entire life is just the echo of your current frequency? What if nothing is random and everything is responding to something you're broadcasting, whether consciously or unconsciously? What if the people you meet, the challenges you face, and the miracles you experience are all mirrors of the energy you're holding? This is why the work of the chosen ones is sacred. We're not here to play with manifestation like it's a toy. We're here to embody truth so deeply that the world around us can't help but realign. We're here to become so stable in our energy that timelines collapse around our presence. We are not just creators, we are calibrators. And that means our greatest tool is not visualization. It is vibration. So how do we shift our vibration to match the life we desire? First, we must become radically honest. What are you really vibrating? Not what are you saying, but what are you believing, feeling, expecting? The universe doesn't respond to what you speak. It responds to what you embody. And embodiment only happens when we stop pretending, when we stop bypassing, when we stop outsourcing responsibility. Quantum manifestation begins when we drop into stillness and feel the truth of what we've been carrying. Not to judge it, not to fix it, but to witness it. Because witnessing is the frequency of love. And love is the only vibration that can create without distortion. That's why chosen ones are often called to isolation first. Not because we're being punished, but because we're being purified. Our field must be cleared before it can become a channel for new timelines. And in that isolation, something else happens. We begin to feel the quantum field around us. Not as a theory, but as a presence. We start to notice how our thoughts ripple out, how our emotions magnetize people, how our fears bring lessons. Suddenly, life stops feeling random. It begins to feel responsive. And once you experience that responsiveness, you can never go back to sleep. You realize that you are not in the universe. The universe is in you. You are not a node in the grid. You are the grid. You are not waiting for signs. You are the signal. And once you grasp this, you start to move differently. You speak with intention. You feel with awareness. You act with clarity. And that clarity becomes a beacon. It draws in timelines that were always waiting, just beyond the veil of your previous vibration. This is the hidden truth behind quantum manifestation. You don't get what you want. You get what you're ready to hold. And readiness isn't about desire. It's about capacity. Can your nervous system hold abundance without sabotage? Can your heart hold love without shutting down? Can your field hold power without distortion? If not, the universe will respect that. It's not withholding. It's protecting the integrity of your evolution. So we must expand our capacity, not by striving, but by stabilizing. We do this through daily coherence, through emotional regulation, through energetic hygiene, through radical authenticity. We do this by choosing to become the version of ourselves who already lives in the timeline we desire. Not someday. Now, in this breath, in this choice, in this frequency. And the moment you do that, something begins to shift. Subtle at first. You feel lighter. You feel more clear. You begin to notice synchronicities not as signs, but as reflections. You start to trust yourself not because you have proof, but because you have resonance. And that resonance becomes your roadmap. It tells you when to move, when to rest, when to speak, when to release. And it never lies. This is not magic. It's mechanics. You are a vibrational instrument. And the more you tune yourself, the more beautiful the music becomes. That music is your life. It is the song your soul came here to play. And when you play it with coherence, the universe sings with you. Opportunities harmonize. people harmonize, time harmonizes. And what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. So if you've ever wondered why your manifestations seem delayed, ask yourself this: am I waiting for something to change, or am I changing something within? Because the outer is always the echo of the inner. And the moment you shift your inner frequency, the outer has no choice but to follow. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of alignment. Part 2. The hidden mechanics of reality. How the quantum field bends around embodiment. There is a sacred architecture beneath everything you see. A structure not built of matter, but of possibility. What we call the quantum field is not some mystical fog floating in space. It is a living intelligence, a fabric of infinite templates vibrating in pure potential. And the most astonishing truth is this: it is not happening outside of you. It is happening through you. You are not separate from it, you are the projector of it. Your perception is not just a lens, it is a creative force. And this is why embodiment is everything. Most people believe they must do more, think harder, try longer in order to manifest. But in the quantum field, doing has very little to do with it. The field doesn't respond to hustle. It responds to coherence. When your inner world becomes stable, congruent, and aligned, the field reflects that order. It doesn't ask what you want. It reflects what you are holding. This is why so many affirmations fail, because they are spoken from a fragmented state. You can say "I am abundant" 1,000 times, but if your nervous system still vibrates in survival, the field will mirror that. You see, the quantum field is not personal. It's precise. It doesn't operate based on morality, worthiness, or effort. It operates based on frequency, resonance, and signal strength. This is why you can have someone who appears undeserving, manifest wealth, and someone who is deeply spiritual still struggle. The field does not care about your story. It cares about your state. And your state is determined not by what you think, but by what you embody. Embodiment is the signal that collapses potential into form. So what does embodiment really mean? It means you are no longer thinking about the timeline you desire. You are being the version of yourself who already lives in it. You walk like them. You speak like them. You regulate your energy like them. You choose like them. You stop waiting for confirmation from the outer world and instead generate the frequency of inevitability from within. This is where manifestation becomes instantaneous, not because it was sudden, but because you finally matched it. Let me ask you something that goes deeper than the mind. Can you hold the energy of your vision without needing it to prove itself to you? Can you trust in the unseen long enough for it to become seen? Can you feel wealthy before the money arrives? Can you feel loved before the relationship appears? Can you feel powerful before the world agrees? This is the test of the chosen ones, not because the universe is withholding, but because it's training you to become the cause, not the effect. When you begin to live this way, reality starts to organize around your embodiment. Not through effort, but through resonance. Things begin to align without your manipulation. People you've never met are drawn into your field. Opportunities arise in ways your mind could never predict. You enter what some call the flow, but in truth it's something even deeper. You are not in the flow. You are becoming the flow. You are no longer chasing timelines, you are generating them. This is the hidden mechanic of reality. You are always manifesting. whether consciously or unconsciously. The question isn't, does manifestation work? The question is, what am I unconsciously manifesting by the frequency I'm maintaining? That's the real work. Not to force life into your vision, but to become the version of you who no longer doubts it. Because when you drop doubt, you drop distortion. And when you drop distortion, the field reflects truth, your highest, clearest, most magnetic truth. But here's the paradox. Embodiment is not about being perfect. It's about being present. You can't fake this. The field is too intelligent. You can't bypass emotional wounds with spiritual language. You can't cover fear with fake confidence. The field reads your core, and if your core is fragmented, it will reflect fragmentation. That's why the path of the chosen is often one of deep healing, because you must become whole before you can hold the whole. Many people ask, how do I raise my vibration? The real answer is, you lower your resistance. You release the trauma, the guilt, the shame, the beliefs that say you are separate or powerless. You stop trying to manipulate the field and instead merge with it. You become a clear channel. And in that clarity, manifestation stops being a mystery. It becomes a mechanism, a reliable, repeatable, precise mechanism that responds to your internal alignment. And this internal alignment is not something you chase, it's something you cultivate. You build it in the quiet. You build it in your breath. You build it by choosing truth over comfort, alignment over approval, presence over performance. You become so stable in your essence that nothing outside you can shake your signal. And that stability becomes your access point to quantum creation. You don't just manifest things, you manifest states of being that generate those things automatically. This is where quantum manifestation transcends goal setting. You're no longer asking, how do I get what I want? Instead, you ask, who must I become to naturally receive what already exists in another version of reality? Because in the quantum field, it's not about time. It's about tuning. Every version of you already exists. Your future is not waiting for you to arrive, it's waiting for you to resonate. And the moment you do, you experience what we call a quantum shift. A quantum shift is not slow. It is not logical. It is not linear. It is a sudden shift in perception, in vibration, in embodiment that causes reality to reorganize instantly. One moment, everything is stuck. The next, everything moves. Not because anything outside changed, but because your signal changed. You drop the old identity. You release the old emotion. You chose a new timeline with your entire being, and the field responded. This is why chosen ones must be ruthless with their energy. Not because they are selfish, but because they are so aware of the power of their field. You begin to realize that every thought, every emotion, every interaction is either reinforcing your desired timeline or pulling you off course. You no longer entertain what doesn't match your future. You no longer tolerate what leaks your power. You live like a tuning fork, clear, precise, coherent. And that coherence is what the field can't ignore. So the next time things aren't working, don't ask, why isn't it happening? Ask, what am I still embodying that contradicts what I'm calling in? That's the deeper layer. Not to force the result, but to remove the resistance, to clear the distortion, to align so deeply with your truth that the universe has no choice but to mirror it. Not in months, not in years, but now. This is the secret. Quantum manifestation is not about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you truly are. And when you do, what you want finds you. Effortlessly, elegantly, inevitably. Because you're no longer reaching into the field, you've become the field. And from that space, everything is possible. Part 3. The Master Frequency. How the chosen ones collapse time and command the invisible. There comes a point on the spiritual path where the illusions of distance, delay, and difficulty begin to fall away entirely. You no longer relate to the future as something you must chase or wait for. You begin to see that time is not a straight road you must walk, but a pliable, fluid field that bends to the direction of your inner alignment. The future version of you, the one who already lives in the abundance, love, peace, and purpose you desire, exists here and now, vibrating just beyond the edges of your current frequency. And the more you understand this, the more you realize that manifestation doesn't require you to create something from scratch. It simply requires you to match that version of yourself and allow the quantum field to do what it's designed to do: reflect, reorganize, and collapse timelines into form. What most people call time, the chosen understand as density. Time is not a measurement, it's an experience of energetic resistance. When you are in alignment with your essence, time moves differently. Things arrive faster not because the world sped up, but because the separation between you and your manifestation dissolved. Every belief you carry that says it's not possible yet acts as a layer of density, creating space between your current self and the timeline you desire. But the moment you release those beliefs, when you claim full energetic congruence with the version of you who already has what you desire, the separation collapses, and with it, time itself folds inward, delivering the outcome not as a reward, but as a reflection. To reach this level, we must embody what I call the master frequency. This is not a temporary high or a burst of motivation. It is a sustained, stable vibration of internal coherence that does not waver in the face of appearances. When you embody this frequency, you no longer look to the outer world for confirmation. You stop needing evidence, and instead you become the evidence. Your energy becomes so precise, so clear, and so unwavering that reality has no choice but to organize around it. You speak not to convince, but to transmit. You move not to chase, but to command. And your very presence begins to influence timelines, people, and outcomes, often without you having to say a word. This level of mastery does not require force. In fact, the more you try to force reality, the more you signal to the quantum field that you are not aligned. The master frequency operates from deep trust, not passive hope, but embodied certainty. It is the vibration of someone who knows that energy precedes all matter, and therefore their inner alignment is the true creative act. You begin to realize that your real work is not to manipulate outcomes, but to maintain your signal. Every time you slip into neediness, doubt, or urgency, you dilute that signal. Every time you return to presence, clarity, and emotional neutrality, you amplify it. The field cannot ignore a coherent signal. It only reflects what is most stable. And when your chosen frequency becomes more stable than your fear, your old story dissolves and the new reality rushes in. The chosen must become deeply discerning with their energy. At this level, everything is a mirror. And every interaction is either reinforcing your chosen reality or pulling you into an old one. You begin to feel it viscerally when something is off. A conversation, a decision, a thought pattern, it either expands you or contracts you. And you stop negotiating with contraction. You no longer tolerate what weakens your signal, not because you're avoiding discomfort, but because you understand the cost of incoherence. Every moment you entertain a frequency that doesn't match your desired timeline, you delay its arrival. You begin to honor your field as sacred space, and you protect it with the same reverence you would offer a temple, not out of fear, but out of full recognition that your energy is the blueprint of your reality. Many ask, how do I hold the master frequency when doubt creeps in? The truth is, the frequency isn't about never feeling fear. It's about not becoming the fear. It's about being so rooted in your embodiment that even when fear arises, you meet it with truth rather than resistance. You witness it, breathe through it, and return to your signal without collapsing your field. This is emotional mastery, not controlling your emotions, but holding your center through them. And the more you do this, the more unshakable you become. The world may shift, circumstances may fluctuate, but your frequency remains clear, consistent, and magnetic. That consistency is what collapses timelines. It is what tells the quantum field, this is no longer a wish. This is my state. The real secret of manifestation is that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are willing to hold. This is why outcomes often arrive when we least expect them. It's not because we gave up. It's because we released the resistance and finally became a match. The master frequency is not loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It is quiet power, anchored in being rather than doing. You walk differently when you know who you are. You speak differently when you're not seeking validation. And you no longer chase anything because you realize you are the source. Let me ask you this. What version of you are you currently reinforcing with your energy, words, and choices? Is it the version that doubts and delays? Or is it the version that commands and collapses? This is not a question to shame yourself. It's a question to awaken clarity. Because every moment is a portal. Every breath is a tuning fork. And the more precisely you choose your state, the more rapidly timelines align to meet you. You are not waiting for the quantum field to respond, it already is. The only delay is the time it takes you to believe you're worthy of what you already carry. In the end, quantum manifestation is not about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you truly are. And when you do, your desires are no longer goals, they are natural expressions of your essence. The wealth, the love, the recognition, the expansion, they arrive not to complete you, but to mirror your completion. And this is the final layer of mastery. You no longer manifest to fix yourself. You manifest to express yourself, and to expand the field, to ripple your frequency into the grid so that others may feel it and remember their own. This is why chosen ones matter. Not because we are better, but because we are willing to do the inner work, willing to hold the signal, willing to walk alone until our frequency becomes so loud that it calls the others. And when they feel it, something ancient awakens in them. They begin to remember that reality is not fixed. It is fluid. It is responsive. It is alive. And their field, like yours, is the command center, not a force, but of truth. So hold your frequency, not just for what you want, but for who you are becoming. Speak the words of your future self now. Walk with the integrity of someone who no longer negotiates with fear. Live like the timeline has already arrived, because in the quantum, it already has. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle. And the moment you accept that, the world rearranges to match the rhythm of your becoming. This is the work. This is the mastery. This is the field. And now that you've felt it, you can never unknow it. You are the signal. You are the source. You are the shift.